Mina lived in a small rented house at the end of a quiet street. It was old, but it felt warm, and she tried to keep it clean and cheerful. Every morning she opened the kitchen window to let in fresh air, then made tea and simple breakfast. She liked the calm sounds of the neighborhood, the distant call of a vendor, and the soft clink of cups. The kitchen was her favorite place because it made the house feel alive. One rainy afternoon, Mina came home with groceries and noticed something strange. The kitchen ceiling looked different, like it was pushing downward. At first she thought the light was playing tricks, because the day was dark and the rain made shadows dance on the walls. She placed the bags on the counter and stared up again. The ceiling was not flat anymore. It had a rounded bulge near the corner above the stove. Mina felt her chest tighten as she looked closer. The bulge was not huge, but it was clearly new. The paint around it had thin cracks like tiny lines spreading outward. She stepped onto a chair to get a better view, holding the counter for balance. The surface looked swollen, as if something was pressing from above. She came down quickly, uneasy, and wiped her hands on her scarf without realizing it. She called her husband, Sam, who worked at a nearby shop. When he answered, she tried to keep her voice steady. She told him about the ceiling and asked him to come home early if he could. Sam listened quietly and asked her not to touch anything yet. He said old houses could have water damage, especially after heavy rain. Mina agreed, but her eyes kept going back to that one spot as if it had become a living thing. While she waited, Mina moved around the kitchen doing small tasks to distract herself. She washed vegetables, wiped the counter, and placed plates in neat stacks. Still, her mind kept spinning. What if the ceiling collapsed? What if there was a leak that would ruin everything? She imagined a hidden pipe bursting, or a roof crack letting rain pour inside. Each thought made her more nervous, and the ticking wall clock sounded louder than usual. Sam arrived before sunset with his friend Rafi, who often helped people fix things. Rafi was not a professional builder, but he was careful and practical. He brought a small toolbox and a flashlight. Mina felt slightly better because she was not alone anymore. Sam checked Mina's face and could tell she was worried. He told her they would handle it calmly, step by step. Rafi pulled the kitchen table away from the corner and asked for a stable ladder. Sam brought an old ladder from the storage room. Mina stood back near the doorway, watching closely. Rafi climbed up slowly, pressing his hand gently against the bulge. He paused and listened, as if the ceiling might speak. Then he tapped it lightly with the handle of a screwdriver. The sound was dull, not hollow like normal. Rafi frowned and shined the flashlight across the cracked paint. He said it did not look like simple water damage. If it was only water, the paint would bubble and soften more evenly. This bulge looked like something behind the board had weight, pushing down from above. Sam asked what that could mean. Rafi did not answer right away. Instead, he said they should check the attic space, if the house had one, or any access above the kitchen. The house did have a small attic opening in the hallway ceiling. Sam pulled down the little hatch and used the flashlight to look inside. Dust drifted down in the light like tiny floating dots. Sam climbed up carefully while Rafi held the ladder steady. Mina stood below, holding her breath, listening to every small creak. For a moment there was only quiet, then Sam called out softly. Sam said the attic was narrow and filled with old insulation and pieces of wood. He crawled forward toward the kitchen area, moving slowly to avoid stepping through the ceiling. Rafi kept asking if he could see anything. Mina's hands were clasped tightly, and she felt her heart pounding. She imagined rats, snakes, and all sorts of scary things that people whispered about in old houses. She tried not to think, but her mind refused to stop. After a few minutes, Sam's voice changed. He said he saw something that did not belong there. He described a large, dark bundle lying near the beam above the kitchen. It was wrapped in something that looked like plastic and cloth, tied with a cord. It was not covered in dust like the other things, which meant it was not very old. The bundle was close to the spot where the ceiling bulged, as if it had slid and pressed down. Rafi told Sam not to touch it yet. Sam hesitated, then moved a little closer to inspect it without grabbing it. Mina could hear the careful movement, the slow scrape of fabric against wood. Sam said there was a faint smell, not strong, but odd, like damp fabric mixed with something stale. Mina's stomach turned, and she pressed her palm to her mouth. She asked if it was an animal. Sam said he could not tell. Rafi stepped back and said they needed to be smart. If someone had placed something in the attic, they should not open it without thinking. It could be harmless, or it could be something dangerous. Mina felt cold all over. She looked around the kitchen, as if the walls could explain. This was their home, their safe place, and now it felt like a stranger had left a secret inside it. Sam climbed down, his face serious. He told Mina it was better if they called the landlord first, but Rafi said they should also consider calling local help if they suspected something wrong. Mina's voice shook as she asked what could be inside. Rafi did not want to scare her, but he was honest that it could be stolen items, old materials, or something someone was hiding. The word hiding made Mina's skin prickle. Sam decided they would not open the bundle in the attic. Instead, they would secure the house and get proper support. But Mina could not stop thinking about the ceiling bulge. What if the bundle fell through during the night? What if it damaged the stove or caused an accident? Rafi suggested they reduce the risk by supporting the ceiling from below with a board and a pole, without cutting anything open yet. They worked together to place a sturdy wooden board under the bulge. Sam held it up while Rafi adjusted a metal pole from the storeroom to press the board gently against the ceiling. Mina watched, feeling both relieved and frightened. The kitchen looked strange with the pole standing like a thin pillar in the corner. The bulge was still there, but now it was less likely to collapse suddenly. When the support was in place, Sam told Mina to pack a small bag. He said they could spend the night at his sister's home nearby, just to be safe. Mina did not argue. She was grateful for a place to go, but she also felt upset, as if the house had betrayed her. She walked into the bedroom and picked up a few clothes with trembling hands. Her mind replayed Sam's words about a bundle that looked new. Before leaving, Mina stood in the kitchen doorway and stared one last time. The bulb above the table flickered slightly, and the rain tapped at the window. The bulge in the ceiling seemed almost larger in the dim light. Mina pictured that bundle resting above her, a hidden weight with a hidden story. She wondered who could have put it there and why. She wondered if it had been there before they moved in, waiting quietly. Sam locked the front door, and they walked quickly through the wet street to his sister's house. Mina tried to talk normally, but her words felt thin. Sam kept telling her it would be fine, that they would handle it tomorrow in the daylight. Rafi promised he would come again in the morning and help them contact the right people. Mina nodded, but her mind kept returning to one thought. Something had been above their kitchen, and it had been close enough to change the shape of the ceiling. That meant whatever it was real, heavy, and placed there on purpose. Mina could not ignore the feeling that the house was holding a secret. And tomorrow, when the right person opened the attic bundle, the secret would not stay hidden anymore. That night, as Mina lay awake in a borrowed room, she listened to the distant thunder and tried to calm her breathing. She imagined all the normal explanations, yet none of them felt right. The bundle was not dusty, Sam had said. It was tied carefully. Someone had wrapped it and left it in a place that most people never check. Mina's eyes stayed open in the dark, and she realized something that made her feel even more uneasy. If someone hid it there, they might still be nearby. And if the ceiling had started bulging now, it meant the secret was starting to break through. The next morning arrived with gray light and soft wind. Mina woke up early at Sam's sister's house, feeling tired but alert. She sat up slowly, remembering everything from the night before. The image of the bulging ceiling returned at once. Sam noticed her restlessness and told her they would go back carefully. He wanted answers as much as she did, but he also wanted to stay calm and safe. After a simple breakfast, Sam called the landlord, Mr. Ollie, and explained the situation clearly. Mr. Ollie sounded surprised and uneasy on the phone. He said he had never stored anything in the attic and had not visited the house in months. He agreed to come over with a local building inspector. Rafi also said he would join them to help explain what he had seen. Mina listened quietly, her hands wrapped around a warm cup. When they reached the house, everything looked normal from the outside. The street was quiet, and children were walking to school. Mina felt strange seeing normal life continue while her own home felt uncertain. Sam unlocked the door, and they stepped inside slowly. The kitchen still smelled faintly of last night's rain. The support pole stood exactly where they left it, holding the board against the ceiling. Rafi checked the pole first to make sure it was stable. He nodded and said it had held well overnight. Mina stood near the doorway again, her eyes fixed on the ceiling. The bulge looked the same, not worse, but not better either. Mr. Ali arrived shortly after with the inspector, a calm middle-aged man named Naveed. Naveed carried a clipboard and a flashlight and asked everyone to explain from the beginning. Sam described the discovery step by step. Rafi added his observations about the sound of the ceiling and the bundle in the attic. Mina spoke last, sharing how she first noticed the bulge and how new it looked. Naveed listened carefully and wrote notes. He said the first step was to check the attic again, this time with proper lighting and caution. Everyone agreed, and Sam brought the ladder back into place. Naveed climbed up first, moving slowly and testing each step. He shined a stronger flashlight into the attic, scanning the beams and floor. Dust floated again, but his light cut through it clearly. He crawled forward and soon saw the bundle that Sam had described. Naveed stopped and studied it without touching it. He asked Sam to pass him a long tool so he could move the insulation around it safely. From below, Mina watched with tight shoulders. She could hear the soft scrape as Naveed shifted materials aside. He said the bundle was resting against a support beam and partly on a thin ceiling board. That explained the bulge below. He said the board was not designed to hold such weight. Over time, it had bent downward. He confirmed the bundle was not old, because it was clean compared to its surroundings. Naveed suggested lowering the bundle carefully instead of opening it in the attic. He explained that opening it there could damage the ceiling or release something unexpectedly. Mr. Ali agreed, though he looked nervous. Rafi helped prepare a strong rope. Naveed tied it securely around the bundle, making sure it would not slip. Sam stood ready below, and Mina stepped back further, her heart racing. With slow movements, Naveed guided the bundle toward the attic opening. The rope creaked slightly under the weight. Sam held the rope firmly while Rafi helped guide it from below. Inch by inch, the bundle came down through the opening. Mina gasped softly when she saw it clearly for the first time. It was larger than she imagined, wrapped in thick plastic and old cloth, tied tightly in several places. They placed the bundle gently on the hallway floor. No one spoke for a moment. The house felt very quiet, as if it was holding its breath. Naveed inspected the wrapping without opening it. He said there were no signs of leaking or damage. He also said there was no immediate danger from the outside, but they still needed to be careful. Mr. Ali asked the question everyone feared. He asked what it could be. Naveed answered honestly. He said it could be many things. It could be someone's hidden belongings, construction materials, or items placed there without permission. He also said that because it was hidden and tied, it raised concerns. He recommended contacting local authorities to document the finding before opening it. This was to protect everyone involved. Mina felt a mix of relief and fear. Relief that someone was taking control, and fear of what the answer might be. While they waited for help to arrive, Mina noticed something she had not before. On one side of the bundle, the cloth was slightly torn. She did not touch it, but she leaned closer to look. Inside the tear, she could see the corner of a small wooden box. It looked old but polished, with a faint carved pattern. Mina pointed it out quietly. Naveed nodded and said that made the situation even more interesting. Soon, 2 local officers arrived. They were calm and respectful, asking clear questions. They examined the bundle and took notes. They decided it was safe to open it there with everyone present. Mina held Sam's arm as they carefully untied the cords. The cloth and plastic were removed layer by layer. The wooden box inside became fully visible. It was heavier than it looked and sealed with a simple metal latch. One officer opened the latch slowly. Inside the box were neatly stacked papers, old notebooks, and several wrapped objects. There was no smell, no sign of anything harmful. Mina felt her body relax slightly. The officer lifted one wrapped object and opened it. Inside was a small metal container, then another. Each container held old coins, jewelry, and folded notes. Mina's eyes widened. These were valuables, carefully stored and hidden. Mr. Ollie looked shocked. He said he had no idea these items were there. The officers continued checking the contents. They found documents with dates and names written in careful handwriting. Some papers mentioned property and agreements from many years ago. Naveed explained that it looked like someone had hidden personal wealth and records, possibly to protect them. The question now was who owned them and why they were left behind. Mina felt strange emotions rise inside her. She had expected something frightening, but instead found a mystery tied to the past. The officers said they would take the box temporarily to check records and find any rightful owner. Mr. Ollie agreed to cooperate fully. Sam squeezed Mina's hand, whispering that it was finally over. But Mina knew it was not fully over yet. Answers still waited somewhere. After the officers left with the box, the house felt lighter, as if a burden had been lifted. Naveed inspected the ceiling again and said repairs would be simple now. The board had bent but not broken. Mr. Ollie promised to fix it quickly and apologized to Mina and Sam. Mina thanked everyone, feeling grateful but drained. She walked into the kitchen and looked up. The bulge was still there, but now she knew why. That evening, Mina cleaned the kitchen slowly, restoring it piece by piece. The support pole remained until repairs could be done. She touched the counter and breathed deeply. The house no longer felt like it was hiding something dangerous. Yet the story behind the hidden box stayed in her mind. Someone had chosen this place to hide something valuable and important. Someone trusted silence and time to protect it. As night fell, Mina and Sam sat together quietly. The rain did not return, and the house felt calm. Mina realized that sometimes fear comes from not knowing. Once light is shined on a secret, it changes shape. It becomes something that can be faced. Still, she wondered about the person who hid the box. What had made them choose the attic? And why had it stayed hidden until now? Mina did not know it yet, but the answers to those questions would soon reach her. And when they did, they would connect her life to a past she never expected. A few days passed after the box was taken away, and Mina tried to return to normal life. She cleaned the house, watered the plants, and cooked simple meals. The ceiling repair was scheduled, and the kitchen felt safe again. Still, her thoughts often drifted back to the wooden box and its hidden story. She wondered who had owned it and why it had been left behind for so long. One afternoon, Sam received a phone call that made him sit up straight. The local office had reviewed the documents found inside the box. They wanted Mina and Sam to come in and talk. Mina felt a mix of curiosity and nervousness as they prepared to leave. She chose simple clothes and tied her hair back, wanting to look calm. The walk to the office felt longer than usual. At the office, they met an officer named Hassan, who greeted them kindly. He explained that the documents in the box belonged to a man named Kareem, who had lived in that house many years ago. Kareem had been a quiet person known for keeping records and saving carefully. According to old files, he had no close family nearby. He had moved away suddenly, and no one knew what happened after that. Hassan showed them copies of the papers. They included notes about property, savings, and personal thoughts written in neat handwriting. Mina noticed how careful the writing looked, as if the person had wanted everything to be clear. Hassan said the items were not reported stolen, and no claim had been made for them in years. That meant the ownership question was complicated. The officers had also found a letter inside the box, sealed separately. Hassan said it appeared to be written shortly before Kareem left the house. He placed a copy of the letter on the table. Mina read slowly, her eyes moving across the page. The letter spoke about trust, fear, and the hope that someone honest would one day find the box. The letter explained that Karim had hidden his belongings during a time of trouble. He feared losing everything if others discovered his savings and records. He believed hiding them in the house attic would keep them safe until things settled. He wrote that if he never returned, he wished the finder to use the items wisely and fairly. Reading this made Mina feel a strange connection to someone she had never met. Hassan said that legally, the situation allowed for a careful decision. Because the items were abandoned and no family could be found, the authorities could release them to the current property owner. Mr. Ali had already said he did not want them and felt they did not belong to him. He suggested that Mina and Sam, as the ones who found them, should decide what to do under guidance. Mina felt overwhelmed by the responsibility. She had never imagined being part of such a choice. Sam listened quietly, then asked what options were available. Hassan explained that the valuables could be donated, used for repairs, or placed into community support. The documents could be preserved as records of the past. Mina thought about Karim's words in the letter and felt they mattered more than the objects themselves. On the way home, Mina was quiet. Sam did not push her to talk. He knew she was thinking deeply. When they reached the house, Mina went into the kitchen and looked up at the ceiling again. The repair work had begun, and the bulge was nearly gone. She felt relief, but also a sense of closing a chapter. The secret above her kitchen was no longer hidden. That evening, Mina shared her thoughts with Sam. She said she felt that Karim wanted honesty and care, not just possession. She suggested they use part of the valuables to fix the house properly and give the rest to causes that help people in need. Sam agreed. He said the house had given them a mystery, and now they could give something back. They contacted Hassan the next day and shared their decision. The plan was approved, and the items were returned to them with clear instructions. Mina held the wooden box one last time before handing parts of its contents over for donation. She felt calm, not excited or greedy. It felt like finishing a promise made long ago by someone else. As the days went on, the kitchen ceiling was fully repaired and painted. The house felt brighter and stronger. Mina returned to her routines, but something inside her had changed. She paid more attention to small details, like the sound of the house at night and the way sunlight moved across the walls. She felt more connected to the place she lived in. One afternoon, Mina found herself telling a neighbor about the experience. She spoke calmly, not with fear, but with wonder. The neighbor listened closely and said old houses often carry stories. Mina smiled and agreed. She realized that fear had turned into understanding. What once shook her world had now become a lesson about patience and truth. Sometimes, Mina imagined Karim writing his letter, hoping someone kind would read it one day. She hoped he would feel at peace knowing his trust was honored. The house no longer felt like it was hiding something. It felt open and honest, like a place meant to hold lives, not secrets. On a quiet morning, Mina sat in the kitchen with her tea, sunlight filling the room. The ceiling was smooth and clean above her. She breathed deeply and smiled. What started as a bulging ceiling had led her to a story that connected past and present. And in facing it with care, Mina felt stronger than before.